When you think about the early network days of NXT, names like Sami Zayn, Finn Balor, Tyler Breeze, Adrian Neville, and even Bull Dempsey come to mind. It's easy to forget that in the middle of all the softness, Sami Callihan, or rather Solomon Crowe, was hacking his way through it all. We first saw Solomon on NXT's broadcast when he used his hacker gimmick to interrupt the stream and cut a promo. I remember watching that happen live and I thought it was the coolest thing ever. Every wrestler says that they don't care what anyone thinks of them and they don't play by the rules, but those same people wait patiently in the back and only come out when the stage manager is nice enough to give them permission to come out by playing their music. Solomon Crowe seemed different. He actually broke the rules. Instead of coming out during his scheduled time slot, he took control of the broadcast and cut his promos whenever he wanted, even if it was during someone else's entrance. Solomon Crowe didn't have an off-the-shelf overused gimmick. The closest comparison would be the anti-authority stable gimmick, but unlike all of those, Solomon Crowe was never trying to destroy the company. Solomon Crowe was taking over just because he could. Solomon Crowe was original, but even if you do have the best gimmick in the world, it takes more than just backstage promos to get over. But sure enough, when the time was right, Crowe stepped into the ring for the first time and made a statement by interrupting CJ Parker's protest. And judging by the loud pop from the Performance Center crowd, I wasn't the only person who liked this. Solomon went on to have a handful of matches throughout 2015. Of course they were good and the crowd seemed to like them, but that was about it. He never won the NXT title, he never got called up to the main roster, and eventually no one seemed to notice when he wasn't on shows anymore. This happens sometimes in wrestling. Something appears and you think it's going to be the next big thing, and it just isn't. To be clear, this is not Sami Callihan's or anyone's fault. There are millions of variables in wrestling, most of which are backstage elements that we never see. So even though Crowe as NXT champion seemed like a possibility to us viewers, backstage Solomon had different plans. WWE actually wanted to keep Solomon, but when he asked to be released from his contract, they obliged. So on November 24th, 2015, WWE came to terms with his release and wished him the best in all his future endeavors. This might have been the end for Solomon, but it was just the beginning for Sami Callihan. Needless to say, he's doing quite well. Sami Callihan made the right call by leaving WWE. But whenever I see him bashing Eddie Edwards with a baseball bat, or doing whatever it is that he's doing on Twitter, I always wonder, will the broadcasts of Raw and SmackDown ever suddenly get interrupted? Because that is what wrestling is all about. Thank you for watching. Be sure to subscribe, it really does mean a lot for a small channel like this. We not only talk about what happens in the ring, we also talk about what's like being a part of the wrestling community, because that is what Wrestling Informer is all about.